So if you follow a good number of digital artists on social media, then you've probably come across the terms crypto art or NFT. But what exactly are they, and why is it important that you know? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you the simple version of exactly what it is and what they mean. Hi everyone, I'm Nathan Hawthorne, an art teacher and digital artist. And on this channel, I talk about all things education, art, and anything related to the creative industries. Now, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future content, because we've got a whole lot more things coming. So let's get down to crypto art and NFTs. So as I said, I'm not going to go into immense details about the technical side of things in this video. I'm just going to explain the basics so that you're informed, so that you know how it works. And don't we all like to be informed? Exactly. So let's go. So to understand crypto art and how exactly it works, first of all, you need to understand NFTs, what they are and how they work. It also helps to understand what the blockchain is, but we won't go there in this video. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. Now, if you're not familiar with the word fungible, it's basically a business term that's used in reference to something which has parts which are completely interchangeable with something of equal value. So say, for example, if I pour you a glass of water. Now, if I pour out half of that water and then refill it again from the same source, so it gets to the same height that it was before, then as far as you're concerned, there's no difference. It's exactly the same glass of water and it's doing exactly the same thing. Money is another example of a fungible thing. So say, for example, if you have a £5 note and I have a £5 note, our £5 notes are exactly the same. They're completely interchangeable. It doesn't really matter which one we pay with. They're exactly the same. And to take it even further, if you have £5 coins, 5 individual pound coins, that means exactly the same thing as the £5 note as well. They're all the same. They can be used interchangeably. They are fungible. And so if money is fungible, then when it comes to the topic that we're talking about, then yes, you guessed it, cryptocurrency is also fungible. So whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, or any of the others, it's all fungible. The pieces of those cryptocurrencies can be used interchangeably. Those tokens can be broken down, repieced together, and it won't make a difference. They're worth the same amount. They're interchangeable. They're fungible. And with that, they can also be moved from wallet to wallet. Transactions can be made, and nobody really cares where exactly they really came from. Even though that history is still there, it doesn't really matter. They're worth the same amount. But for NFTs, for non-fungible tokens, it's a different story. You see, they are tokens, things, assets that cannot be broken down or used interchangeably with something else. They are one of a kind. So if we think about this in physical terms, take for example this piece by Edvard Munch, The Screen. Many of us are familiar with it. It was last sold for $122.2 million. Okay, say if I tear a quarter off the top of it, just tear the top off, and say this is a quarter of the screen. It's therefore worth exactly a quarter of it, $30.55 million. Does that make sense? Well, no, it doesn't. You'd think something was wrong with me if I tried selling you that piece. The piece is destroyed, incomplete. It's not worth the fraction that it is of the whole. In fact, it might even have no value now. So in a similar way, NFTs cannot be broken up. Now, let's take this a little bit further. Say Edvard Munch's The Screen and Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night, another very popular piece, were worth the same amount. They're not, but say they were worth the same amount. Could we then say that they're therefore the same thing? They could be used interchangeably. If I walk into a gallery which says it was showing Starry Night, but instead the screen was there, I'd be like, oh, look, it's Starry Night. No, I couldn't. They are clearly two very different things, two very different pieces of artwork made at different times, made in different ways, with different meanings. They are one of a kind. They have so much that is individual to them, both aesthetically, historically, and conceptually. Likewise, one NFT is not equal or the same as another NFT, even if they're of the same value. They are each individual and contain their own data, history, and information. So now this is where we start moving into the realm of crypto art. Now, NFTs are digital assets. They don't exist in the physical world as such. So really what's important here isn't even necessarily the image, the sound, or the animation itself, which is how we tend to be seeing a lot of NFTs these days. The most important thing is the metadata. Now, since we're focusing on artwork, crypto art specifically, the metadata includes things such as the creator of the image, the date of the purchase, the current owner, as well as, of course, the link to the image itself that you can see. Now, this is the commodity. This is where the money and the value is. Now, because of this, you can purchase the one-off version of a particular artwork by a particular artist. Okay, that's what it allows you to do, by a particular digital piece of art. Now, many people ask when you say this, oh, I copy and paste art all the time. I download things and use them as my wallpaper. I own it, therefore, surely. But no, it doesn't work like that. There's an example which you'll see around a lot of videos and articles which explain how NFTs work, and I think it's a very good example, so I'm going to use a variation of it. And basically it goes like this. So remember before we mentioned Van Gogh's Starry Night? Now, you've probably seen it everywhere. You've seen it in films, seen it on the wall reproductions, prints, you've seen it on postcards, you've seen it everywhere, okay? Now, in all these postcards and t-shirts and books and stuff like that you've seen it in, would you ever say that that version of the Starry Night that you're seeing there is the real thing? Well, no, you wouldn't. Because you know that the real one is in a gallery somewhere. It's actually in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. That's where the real one resides. There's something special about that one. It's the original one. They own it. So even though many of us may have copies or reproductions of it, out there in the MoMA is the real deal, the real thing. Crypto art works in the same way. Crypto art holds value based on that same principle, that if you own that specific thing, even though many people may have copies of it or whatever, if you own it, have your name on it, and that's in the blockchain, undeletable, then it's special. You own something of value. And that's the principle that it's working on. The same one that we hold art by today, physical art by today. Now, at the moment, crypto art can be bought from a variety of websites, which run by slightly different rules. So examples are Rarible, Nifty Gateway, Super Rare, and from what I understand, they can pretty much only be bought with the cryptocurrency Ethereum. And at the moment, you may have heard that the person making the most money out of it is Beeple, or Michael Winkelmann, who's had pieces sell for as much as $6.6 million at the time of me making this video. And getting into crypto art, into NFTs, it's not hard. Anyone can do it. You need a bit of initial money to make a bit of an initial investment to get started, but anyone can turn their art pieces into an NFT. The process is called minting. Anyone can mint an NFT. But the only thing is that once you're in, you face exactly the same issue that you face in the real world. You have this entire system, this entire industry, and all the competition to get into people's line of sight and make people think that your work is worth something or will be worth something in the future. Okay, so hopefully by now you understand on a basic level what an NFT is and what crypto art is and how they're related. And you're probably wondering, why is it that I'm making a video on this? Isn't my focus mostly on drawing tutorials and education and the education system and so on and so forth? Well, it's pretty simple. Okay, this is important to young artists and young art students. Because if you're going into an industry, you need to know where the industry is going. You need to know how it's developing, what the next step might be, what future jobs might look like. To go in blind would be like going into automobile engineering and you don't know anything about electrical cars. All right, it doesn't make sense because of course that's the future of automobile engineering. And to be honest, it's sort of the present of automobile engineering as well. It's a similar thing with this. This is starting to become the present and looks like it will have a major bearing on the future of the art world, of the creative industries. So people who are getting into tech, people who are getting into art, they do well to understand this and know at least a little bit about it so that they can, navigate the creative industries better in the future. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons about NFTs, lots of disputes and arguments going on about, whether they're a good thing or a bad thing, the problems with them, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to go more into depth with it if that's what you guys want. So please let me know down in the comments below if you want me to make a few more videos on this topic, or if you have any questions about this topic, because I'll be sure to put up more in the future. One thing I will say is that these are super exciting times for art and the technology world. The world really is turning something that, the me from a few years ago, the teenage me, would not recognize. It's very, very different to how I thought the world would go, and I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's just how things are. Things are so unpredictable, as we know. By the way, if you want to see any of the articles that I got some of this information from, then be sure to check them out. They'll be in the description below. And yeah, I think we'll leave it there for today. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and be sure to subscribe as well. And that's all for now. Until next time.